In this video, we're going to build a mobile camera application in React Native and Expo that not only looks great, but also follows best practices. Now, the cool part, we are not gonna be stuck coding everything line by line. Instead, we'll be using Warp, an agentic development environment that lets us go from prompt to production, editing files, generating diffs, reviewing code, multi-agent support, and more, all from one place. Along the way, we'll also plug in the Expo MCP to fetch the latest SDK-specific documentation and make sure the agent always has the right information. And the brand new CodeRabbit CLI, which reviews our code after each major change or refactor. It helps us and the agent to improve the code quality, spot potential issues, and apply fixes before committing the code. This means we'll not only build our application faster, but we'll also follow best practices. If you want to learn more about Warp itself, I already made a video where I use Warp to refactor and update my shopping list application. I'll link that for you in case you're interested and you can watch it after this video. And if you want to try Warp yourself, use the promo code CODEWITHBETO to get Warp Pro for just $1 for your first month. Yeah, that's right, $1. Warp is free to use, but you can now try Warp Pro free for 7 days, which gives you 2,500 AI credits, no card required. Now, before we dive in, I want to highlight why we're using Warp for this project. Warp is not a terminal or an editor or like a regular IDE. It's a fully fledged agentic development environment. The idea is simple, the IDE is dead and the ADE is in. Instead of cluttering your screen with windows and tabs, everything starts in a clean UI with a clean interface optimized for an agentic development environment. And it's not just about speed, it's about reliability. Prompt-driven coding environments like Warp are quickly becoming the new way of building production-ready products fast. That's why Warp is already used by over 700,000 engineers across 56% of the Fortune 500. So the top of the top are using Warp, and you'll learn why in this video. And here's where things get even better. We'll also be using the new CodeRabbit CLI to review our code after every change. It acts like a second set of eyes, helping both you and the agent improve code quality, spot issues earlier, and apply fixes before we even commit the code. And something that I really like about CodeRabbit is that you can also learn good practices you might not be aware of. Personally, I've been picking up patterns and improvements from CodeRabbit reviews that I wouldn't have thought of on my own. It's like having a mentor baked into your window. So with Warp as our ADE, Expo MCP, feeding the latest SDK docs, and CodeRabbit reviewing our changes, we've got everything we need to build this camera application from scratch, so let's get started. First things first, you're gonna need to install Warp. I'm gonna leave that link in the description that you can follow. Since Warp is not a simple CLI, you actually need to download it. It's actually a native application and it's great because it comes with many native features that we can use. So you need to download it by pressing this button or just running the brew install command. And then we're gonna be using the CodeRabbit CLI. So if you click on the products, you can press the CLI option and then copy this command. And then we can go to Warp. So here I have Warp. This is how it looks once you open it. So let's just go ahead and run this command to install CodeRabbit. I already have it installed, but this is going to, make sure that I'm running the latest version. And that's it. Just by running this command, now we are able to use CodeRabbit. Now, since we are building an application that uses the camera, we cannot use a simple simulator. We need a real device. So I'm gonna be using my real iPhone here, and you can see it on screen. And we're gonna be using Expo Go. So you can search for Expo Go in the App Store, and you should find it pretty quickly. It's available for Android and iOS. Make sure that you have this installed on your phone, because we're gonna be using it to preview and develop our application. And that's all you need. So in Warp, I'm going to navigate to my apps folder, but actually you can also use natural language to ask Warp, what do you want to do? So for example, I'm gonna say, go to my apps folder in desktop. Now, by default, Warp is going to detect that we want to use an agent because this is not a CLI command, right? When we installed CodeRabbit, Warp detected that automatically. But you can always change this manually by pressing this terminal button or just the agent or auto, which works great. So I'm just gonna hit enter, and Warp is going to detect my apps folder, and just like that, we are already in the apps folder, which is great. Okay, so once we are here, I'm going to run this command, bunx create expo app, and hit enter. Now this is going to ask me the name of the application that we want to create. So I'm going to say camera app video and hit enter. You can name yours as you want. Okay, and my project is ready. So after we created our project, I'm going to run cd camera app video, which is the one that we just created. Now, right away, Warp is going to detect that this is a new project and it's going to ask me if we want to optimize for this code base. So let's press this optimize button, and this is going to index the code base. And yeah, we can generate a warp.markdown file. This is helpful for Warp so that it can suggest better commands faster. And after a moment is done, we have the markdown file. It detected that this is an Expo project using SDK 54, great Expo router, React Native, new architecture enabled. You know, all the cool stuff that it detected is perfect. It's compatible with dark mode. Great, great, great. Okay, so let's just go ahead and accept this. And we have the summary. Awesome. Now the next thing that I want to do is add the Expo MCP. So we can do /add MCP, the first option, and this is going to take us to this window. So to add the MCP server, it's very simple. We just need to go to the Expo docs, and the MCP actually is in beta at the moment, and it's only available for EAS paid subscribers. So be aware of that. You know, if you are limited and you don't have a paid account with EAS, you can always copy the link of the documentation and give it to Warp, and Warp can fetch the information for you. But if you have a paid account with EAS, you can use it. So the only thing that I want here is this link, which is the server link. And we can come here, and I'm going to create a new URL field here and paste it in here. And I'm going to delete the rest. It's actually not needed. And let me name this as Expo MCP. And this is how it looks. Super simple. We can now press save. And now this is going to start connecting. And this actually just opened a new window that I'm going to put in here. Now you need to authenticate because, you know, this is only for EAS paid customers. So I'm going to authenticate with my Expo account. And once we do that, this should take us back to Warp. Okay. And if I wait for a moment, now the MCP server is running, as you can see here. I already had it before, so I'm actually going to just remove the previous one. Let's delete this server. And now we only have one. Great, so that's all. Now we have the Expo MCP ready to be used. Okay, so now that we know that this is running, I'm going to close this window. By the way, I'm going to be using a lot of shortcuts, something that I really like about Warp. And right now I'm going to press Shift Command E, and this is going to open the new Explorer. Quickly here, you can see that this looks like a regular file explorer, and you can see how the application is being structured. So this is an Expo router app that has some tabs by default. We can inspect each file, and you know, if you want, we can update the code here. And yeah, so let me close this. Just wanted to mention that. I'm going to be using that a lot. So now I'm going to press Command / to close the sidebar. Now we can just leave this open. I think we're going to be using it a lot. So from here, I want to use the Expo MCP. And some of the things that you can do at the moment is that you can install dependencies using the MCP or learn about a specific module. So right now we're building a camera application. So I can ask Warp to learn Expo Camera. Hit enter. And you know, it's detecting that this might be a different conversation. Let's just go ahead and start a new one by hitting enter. And just like that, it's detecting that we have an MCP tool, search documentation. So let's go ahead and run this. So right now Warp is fetching the latest documentation about Expo Camera and how it can be used. And it's asking me now that it wants to fetch the Expo Camera information about the flash, zoom, camera types, front and back camera, ultra wide. Wow, it's awesome. So I'm just gonna hit enter, leave this working. I'm going to open a new tab by pressing Command T. And then what I want to do here is just show you how the package.json looks like. So if we press Command O to open this search window, I'm going to search for the package.json. And if we want to see this, you know, in full screen, we can just close this on the left, or we can just move this like this, and everyone is able to see what's going on here. Now, I want to highlight that at the moment we don't have a camera package, right? Nothing is installed, but Warp is learning about it, even though we don't have it installed. So we're going to install it in a moment. The MCP is still working, right? Searching documentation. So what I can do here is just ask another instance of Warp. We can have multiple agents running, and I'm gonna say install Expo Camera and hit enter. So this is going to use as well the MCP. You see, right away, it detected it. So now I can just hit enter and it's going to install it using the add library tool that comes with the Expo MCP. Okay, and now it has the command. Let's hit enter, sorry, let's accept this. Awesome. And now on the right, we have it here. So how cool is that? We didn't have to do anything. And it also added the plugin, looks like. Oh no, it's saying you'll need to add these permissions in your app.json. So if I hover here, I can just press this open in Warp. It's going to bring it here. So in the plugin section, we need to add this in here. So let's copy this. This is because when we use, the camera, we need permissions from the user. So after the splash screen, I'm going to add a new record, which is the Expo Camera. Okay, and hit save. Cool. Now I can just close this and this. Now it's telling me, the basic usage of how we can use it. Awesome. So let's go back to the previous tab. It's done learning about Expo Camera. And just before we start doing stuff, I want to start the server. So let's ask Warp, please start the dev server so that we can start testing the application. It's detecting that I changed the topic a little bit, but let's continue in this conversation. Oops, and it's actually using npm. So I'm going to press this edit button, and then I'm going to, just use one. And let me move this up, and I'm going to run this command. So that's another cool thing. You can edit the commands, and everything that Warp is giving you, you can change it if you want. Okay, so here we have it, Expo Go. Now let's bring our device. Just like that, I already have Expo Go installed, as you can see here, but I'm going to open my camera. Okay, and press open Expo Go. It's going to detect that we're running Expo Go. And right now it's loading everything from this server. Awesome, and this is how it looks at the moment. We only have these two simple tabs, and everything looks nice. Great. So at this point, we're ready to start implementing the camera functionality. So let's go back to Warp. I'm going to open a new instance, or we can just come here and clear. And one thing that I want to do is, we already have a bunch of changes. If I say git status, you can see that we modified a couple files. So what I want to do here is just ask Warp to commit this to GitHub. Okay, it's going to add it. And now it's generating a nice commit message explaining what we did, which we added Expo Camera. Perfect. So let's run this command as well. Oh, and it seems like we need an extra quote. Okay, cool. Awesome. So now we don't have changes. If I say git status, nothing is there. Cool. It's a good practice to commit small changes so that we can always go back to a previous state of the project in the code base. So now that this is clean, we can start adding features. And let's ask Warp to create a simple camera screen. It's actually a good practice as well to keep the changes small and keep iterating with the agent. Let's use the voice inputs because I don't want to be typing everything. So I want to say, please add a camera view. Keep it simple for now, just one screen, full screen camera. And let's just press stop. Okay, here we go. Just hit enter. Okay, and here it is. Great. It's actually handling permissions, which is awesome. We actually cannot use the camera or show the camera if we don't have permissions. So we need to handle those. Great. So if we don't have a permissions, we're going to show a loading camera text. And then after that is showing, a permissions screen or component. If the permissions are not granted, is going to just ask the user to grant permissions, and it's requesting permissions here by calling this function request permissions from this hook that is coming from Expo Camera. Perfect, so this looks great. So let's just go ahead and accept this. And now my phone should be rendering this. Oh yeah, so it created a new screen, so now it's adding it. Let's accept this. Now let me show you how my device looks like. Here it is. Okay, so I'm going to shake my device and restart. Okay, now it's detecting that we don't have permissions for the camera. Let's press this grant permissions button. So let's go ahead and say allow. Okay, and the camera is working. As you can see, I can see my stuff, and we also have this, button to flip the camera, which is really nice that I can, just flip it and see my face. And I didn't even ask for that, but it handled it, which is really cool. So let's leave this in here for now. Okay, so one thing that I'm noticing here is that we also have the tabs. So let's ask Warp to do this change. Please remove other screens and just keep the camera screen as default. Perfect, now it's going to start doing that. It's going to remove the tabs. Perfect, so let's hit enter. And here we can see how this is looking on my device. Okay, so it's going to move the camera screen from the tabs folder to the root of the project. So let's accept this change. It's going to remove the tabs folder, perfect. It's going to remove the modal as well. Let's accept this change. And now we only have the index screen. Okay, now it's starting again to start the server. So I'm going to stop this in here. And let's check the diff. So first of all, we have the files that it removed. It also removed the modal, perfect, and added the index file. Okay, so now what I want to do is just go to the server and press R to restart the application. Okay, and now it's working. The header is gone, which is good. Now we only see the camera view. Perfect. Now everything here looks good to me. I reviewed the diff and everything looks great, but just to be sure that everything is correct, I'm going to run CodeRabbit. So after installing CodeRabbit CLI, you can just say CodeRabbit like this and hit enter. And the CodeRabbit CLI is going to pop up. It's detecting the changes, 6 files, how many lines were added and deleted. So just to review these changes, we can press enter. And by the way, if this is the first time that you are running this command, you might need to authenticate, but at this point, I'm already authenticated, so we are good to just hit enter. And this is going to start reviewing the changes, which is great. Now, in the meantime, we can do more stuff. I'm going to open a new tab and I'm going to ask Warp to learn Expo Router. The reason for that is because I want to extend the navigation of my application. So this is going to detect the MCP. Let's hit enter. Now it's going to learn Expo Router. So Expo Router is already installed, but just to make sure that Warp has the latest, the latest information about Expo Router, it's bringing it here, which is great. Because after this change, what I want to do is, being able to add a button to take a picture and then navigate to a new screen and show the picture in a full screen. Okay, and the review is done and it found a potential issue. So let's see, I'm going to press enter and it found 2 potential issues. One is just like a suggestion, like adding accessibility labels and consider error handling for the camera failures. And that's actually a good idea. Okay, so to fix this, we can just press C to copy the prompt and fix it with Warp. So that's copied. Then we can go back. And by the way, I'm switching between tabs by pressing Shift Command left and right, and you can see the shortcut there. So I'm just going to paste the prompt here and hit enter. Okay, and here we have it. It's adding the accessibility labels as well as the error handling. Great. Let's accept these changes. Cool. And now we're good to go. Now I'm going to press Ctrl C to exit CodeRabbit. Now we are just here. I'm going to clear the terminal and now I only have 2 windows. And now we are ready to move to the next phase. So let me add everything. I'm gonna say git add all, and then git commit update files. That looks good. Great, now if I say git status, we're clean, awesome. Okay, now I'm gonna use voice mode to ask for a button to take a picture. Add a button to take a picture. It should be placed at the bottom of the screen. It should be the only button at the moment. And once a user takes a picture, we should navigate to a new modal screen where we're gonna be showing the image in full screen. and a close button to go back to the camera. So I think that's good for now. Let's see what it comes up with. I'm going to hit enter. Okay, now Warp is breaking this into multiple tasks. First of all, it's going to add the picture functionality, taking the picture, then create a photo preview modal screen, then add the navigation and style everything with accessibility improvements. Awesome, that looks good. Okay, now we have a nice button. I love it, nice. So taking the picture should work now, but I think it needs to still handle the navigation. Yeah, it's creating now the preview modal. Okay, so the preview modal is going to get the image URI from the router routes. So this is great. It knows how to use Expo router and how to pass parameters between routes. And it's going to pass the image URL, which is great. Then it's going to validate if we don't have an image, it's going to navigate back, which, you know, works for now. Maybe we can improve that later. It's handling errors now. Perfect. In case we don't find anything. And then we have an image, passing the image from the URL. So let's accept these changes. Looks good. Okay, let's see. If I take a picture now, it navigates. Awesome. And we can always go back. We have this X button. Perfect. Let's see. Great, it's working great. It's working on the preview, it's adding it to the stack. Yeah, we need to do that so that we can actually present it as a modal. Now it's trying to start the server again. I'm going to stop it. Let me actually check this change, this one. Yeah, perfect. It's presenting it as a full screen modal. It's not showing the header and the animation is slide from the bottom, which is great. That actually works great for Android. So let's test this out. Take a picture and we get the nice navigation from the bottom. I cannot dismiss the screen because this is a full screen modal, but we can press the button. So let's see, let's take a picture of this. Nice. Awesome. Great, this looks awesome. I'm super happy with this result. Now let's see if we have some errors. Let's open a new tab and I'm just gonna run CodeRabbit again just to make sure that everything is working fine. Detected the insertions and let's see what happens. Hit enter. Okay, and CodeRabbit is done. Didn't find any issues, which is great. Now let's come back in here. And one thing that I wanted to do, guys, is change this to be a modal, just so that we see how this looks, right? So we can press this button here to view the changes on the right. And in this window, we can change these manually if we want to, just by double clicking here, or just select this part, like the entire thing, or just one line, whatever. I'm going to just select everything and add this as a context just by pressing this button. And as you notice, it says, you know, line from 15 to 23. And I'm going to say use a modal presentation and make sure that you are selecting the agent mode here. So let's hit enter. Otherwise, you're going to get an error because it's going to think it's a CLI command. Okay, and we have the change. Now let's accept this. Perfect. Now we can see it on the right. This looks good. Now let's see how this looks on my phone. If I take a new picture of this microphone, look at that. So when it's a modal, it's not covering the entire screen, but I can do gestures to dismiss the screen, as you can see here. So I think in this case, I prefer having the full screen. So let's keep that. We can do this manually as well. So I'm just going to delete this and say full screen modal and Command S to save. All right. So let's close this. Let's check the status. Okay, small changes. CodeRabbit didn't find anything. So let's add everything. And we can actually use voice mode for this. I'm gonna say added modal navigation to view photo. And let me remove the extra stuff. Hit enter. Great, and now if I say git status, we don't have any changes. Now, a couple of things that I want to add to the camera. We need to be able to control the flash, returning the flip button to use the other cameras. So let's do that. Now, just to make sure that everything is going to work great, I'm going to close this window. I'm going to start a new tab and I'm going to ask Warp to learn Expo Camera and Expo Media Library. This is because I want to be able to save the images that we're taking and then show them within the application. So let's just allow this. By the way, since this is just searching more information, I'm just going to say auto approve. You can do that by pressing Shift Command I or just pressing this button to auto approve. And this is going to start researching without me having to accept every change. Okay, and it's done. And actually it went ahead and installed Expo Media Library. So let's see this in the package JSON. Okay, cool. So we're gonna be using it, so that's okay. So let's use voice for that. Please add camera controls at the top right of the screen. These buttons should be absolute positioned and transparent background with a nice design. And you should enable things like enabling the zoom, flipping the camera, flash, and other useful controls that Expo Camera provides. Okay, and look at that. My input is formatted with HTML, so let's just hit enter. Now keep in mind guys that now at this point we are auto accepting, and you can always toggle this here and you can inspect each change. But at the moment I'm just gonna leave it on. Another thing that I almost forgot to mention is that you can always change the agent that you're using. So in this case, let's use Claude 4.5 Sonnet, which I think it's the latest one and should work great. Okay, now along all these changes guys, it's also using the Expo MCP to search documentation and find related stuff. Great, so it says that it's done. So let's go back in here and I'm gonna say npx expo start to start the server again. And let's see if this works. I'm going to refresh the app and everything works. Now we have controls and they look really nice. I mean, you can see them. They have opacity and I can increase the zoom, flip the camera, flip it again, turn on the flash. So let's see if I take a picture here with the flash, looks great. Okay, let's close this. Now, if you notice, now we have this video. Okay, and now video is not working at the moment. Let's see if it can take me to the media library. So nothing happens if I press that button. And it's fine. I think I actually don't want to have video at the moment. Let's do one more iteration with the agent. Please remove the video functionality. We actually don't want to handle video at this moment. And when you press the library icon that you added at the right of the take picture button, we should navigate the user to a new screen. It should be like a card presentation and we should show the photos taken by this application. So when you take a picture, you actually need to create a new photo album, and then we can reference that photo album to show the images taken by this camera. And by the way, once you take a photo, we need to save it. Okay, so here's my prompt. Please remove the video functionality. We don't care about it at the moment. And I ask for a bunch of things. So this is gonna be a large change. Let's just hit enter. And now let's wait a little bit. Okay. And it's done. Remove the video functionality, enhance photo controls, add saving, gallery screen, configuration updates, and file modified. Great. Awesome. So let's see how this looks. So one really cool thing that I just noticed is that if you press on something on the image, the opacity of the controls increases and it looks really nice. And then after a moment, it goes back to 0.2 or 0.1, not sure which value is using. But yeah, anyways, let's take a picture of this thing. Okay, and now we have this save button. Let's save this image. It's gonna ask me for permission, so let's allow full access, and the photo is saved. Great, awesome. So now let's navigate to the gallery screen. Okay, and we have a little error here, so let's dismiss. Okay, something is up in here. So if we take a look at the console, you can see that we are not getting any errors, but still the application is not working. So what I'm going to do is just take a screenshot of this. And then I'm going to say done, copy and delete. And then let's go to Warp here and I'm going to paste the screenshots. So just by doing Command B, the screenshot is here. And now let's ask the agent to fix it. There is an issue on the gallery screen. When navigating, I get the error, these screenshots. Let's hit enter and let's see if that fixes the issue. Now, in the meantime, I'm going to run CodeRabbit again and start, analyzing the changes that we've made. So this is a huge change. So hopefully CodeRabbit finds, some issues that Warp might have missed. Okay, so it seems that there was an issue with the asset info, but now it is working. And actually, let me show you here. If I navigate, I'm able to see the image, which is great. So let's try to take another one. I'm gonna take a picture of this. Let's save it. Great. Let's navigate. Okay, now we have 2 images and they look really nice. Awesome. Now, I'm curious to see if CodeRabbit finds anything suspicious here. Okay, so CodeRabbit found a couple things. So we have a comment on the index. It says remove shared value from dependency array. Okay, so it looks like the controls opacity shared value doesn't trigger re-renders and shouldn't be in the use effect. Great, yeah, that makes sense to me. Shared values from React Native Animated work differently from regular state. So here's the diff, it's just removing this from the dependency arrays. And to apply the suggestion, we can just press A, as you can see down here. So let's press A. Great, now let's move on to the next one. There is a potential issue, avoid moving assets out of the system camera role. Let's see. Line 69 sets copy asset to false. When creating the album, line 72 does the same. For Expo Media Library docs, passing false moves the asset instead of copying it. So the photo disappears from the user's recent camera roll. So I'm actually not sure about this one. Let's just copy this. I'm going to press C and let's go back to Warp. Let's close the code review and I'm going to paste this in here. And I'm going to say, can you check the above suggestion? And let's see. Okay, we got the you are absolutely right. The third argument false means the asset is moved out of the camera roll, which is not what we want. Let me fix that so the photo is copied and remains in the camera roll recent. Okay, and it's also noticing the controls opacity. Oh yeah, it seems that I pasted everything. Fixed. Okay. Photos now stay in camera roll. Let's test this out. I'm going to make sure that I have everything, I'm going to shake it and reload from scratch. Let's take a picture of our thing. Let's save it. Cool. Let's go to the gallery. Everything looks good here. It's great that it also has like the scroll to refresh and it has haptics. You guys cannot feel it, but feels good. And then it has this opacity when I press the image, which provides feedback to the user. But yeah, overall super happy. We also added, zoom effect. We are able to flip the camera, turn on the flash. And I think this is a good point to stop. We learned so many features from Warp, like code reviews, changing the model, voice input, adding an MCP server, having multiple agents working at the same time, and same with CodeRabbit. So from here, I can just press escape and just Ctrl C to stop this. We also learned a bunch from CodeRabbit and good things that we, missed because we were adding a bunch of code, and this application is growing fast and it's easy to miss those little things that CodeRabbit catch for us. And that's it. We just built a full camera app in React Native and did it all inside Warp. Along the way, we saw how Warp helps us basically do everything we need, like editing files, reviewing code diffs, having multiple agents working at the same time on the same problem, or in multiple workspaces as well. That's possible. Iterating quickly without a traditional IDE getting in the way. Like I said earlier, the IDE is dead and the ADE is in. We also plugged in the Expo MCP to pull the latest SDK documentation, so the agent always had the correct context and up-to-date information. And we used the new CodeRabbit CLI to review our code after each major change. Not only catches bugs before they become problems, it also helps you learn new patterns and best practices you might not know yet. If you want to learn more about Warp, check out my previous video. I'm gonna leave the link in the description, and don't forget to take advantage of the promo code from Warp. And as always, I hope you learned something new. I hope you liked this video. Please leave me a comment, give it a like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.